Alright, there we go. A new week. And this time we're actually on a Monday this time, unlike last Monday. That's neither here nor there, that's not important. I'm ready to just get back into the swing of things. New week, new opportunities and all that, right? I'm ready to just get back into it. Let me see if audio is good, and we'll just get straight into it, really. So I'm going to do some talking here to just see if the audio is good, which I assume it is. Usually it's good, but just in case. I think the audio's good, I'm not sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, audio's good. Okay. Game volume is also good, right? Should be fine. I hope it's loud enough for everyone else. It's decent volume for me. I can turn it up a little bit. Yeah, like a little bit. There we go. Alright, I said we just get right into it. Because it's been a while. Yeah, we're at the mansion? Yeah, so we're at the mansion now. It's either be at the mansion or face the consequences of your actions and die. We don't want that. That's how. Sojiro accepted his supervised life in the mansion. That he would be living under the same roof as two professional mages. Having experienced firsthand how dangerous that life could get, he was finally at peace with the situation. Oh well. If it did not seem like it, he had thought it through in his own way and come to a clear resolution. Down to business.
監視するとは言ったけど、どうやって宗十郎を監視するのか。そもそもあなたを監視する原因になった魔術とは何なのか。そのあたり、ざざっと説明させてもらうわ。
Should double check something. Alright. I was brought up to listen closely to lectures about new information, but because Sojiro suddenly looked attentive. Alice, on the other hand, kept her mouth shut in silent defiance.
最初に言っておくと、あんたをここに住まわせる期限は決まってるから。
Predetermined?
要はその期限まで誰にも私たちのことを喋らず、また勝手に死ななければ晴れて自由の身ってこと。
Hey yo, that's fucking great.
ね、そうよね、アリス。
そうね。私たちを怒らせなければ、そういう可能性もあるわね。
There's a chance out of this whole madness. Let's go.
よし、いきなり話が食い違ってる。
So it had dropped. Like he knew what was coming.
ちょっと黙ってて、アリス。あとあんたも黙ってろ。
And you shut up. Sojiro, be quiet and listen. She scowled at the two of them, only at her wit's end.
話を続けるけど、秘密保持のためにあんたを住まわせる場合、二次災害はどうしても避けられない。
Yeah.
同じ家にいる以上、余計に秘密を見せることになるからね。ア
Yeah.
リスはそれが嫌なんだろうけど。
That makes sense. That makes sense. Alka mentioned it. Sojiro could see her point. The target of observation under house arrest. Disclosure of more confidential information was inevitable.
ちょっと待ってくれ。堂々巡りじゃないか、それ。
It does.
大丈夫、問題ないわ。だって最後にはここで暮らした記憶ごと私たちのことを忘れてもらうことにしたから。
Well, then why does he have to stay here in the first place?
忘れてもらう？
そう。公園での一件から丸ごと全部忘れてもらう。ルーンっていう魔術系統があるんだけどね。その中でサクッと記憶を忘れさせるものがあるのよ。
Then my question is, why is he living here?
非人道的であるのは変わらないけど、命を消す代わりに記憶を消すってことで妥協して。
青崎、それは。
Nope.
悪いけど反論は却下。
No objections.
で、 肝心の忘却のルーンなんだけど、私もアリスも専門外だから文献を探して習得するのに時間がかかる。
Okay, so that's why he's staying here until they figure out how to do that and then they do it.
つ
Okay.
まりそれが監視の期限ってわけ。
Okay.
私たちが忘却のルーンを見つけるまで命を担保に口を閉じていてもらうわ。アリスはそんなややこしいことはせずに五感全部壊してしまおうなんて言ってるけど、
That's a bit extreme.
しずきくん、リビングスタチューとか嫌でしょ？
Huh? No. Sojiro only understood about 80% of what Aoko had explained. The last part about being a living statue had gone straight over his head. He tried his best to visualize what Aoko was going on about, but the only thing he could conjure in his mind was an image of the mascot creator Kitsy.
それは確かに嫌だな。
No, thank you. I could agree with the bewildered Sojiro. One the wiser to the other's misinterpretation.
とにかく遅くても1ヶ月で忘却のルーンは見つけ出せるだろうし、1回きりの実行ならプラス2ヶ月ぐらいでなんとかなるわ。
Sounds simple enough.
それまであんたにはここで暮らしてもらうわけだけど、私たちについて無知のまま歩き回られると命の保証はできないのよ。
Yeah.
そっちもこっちの事情を知らないのは気持ち悪いだろうし。なんで今から簡潔に現代の魔法使いの何たるかを教えてあげる。
Well.
それで少しは私たちへの勘違いもなくなるだろうし。
So I'm assuming the game story just takes place in this singular month. It's been building up to this point, and then it's gonna take place in this month, and it ends after that, I think. I'm assuming. I'm making an assumption. I could be wrong, though. But she thought this country bumpkin had any idea of old or new anyway. The thought brought a smug grin to her lips.
洋館のことは後にして、まずは私たちの立場についてね。あ、でも1から100まで理解する必要はないから。
Yeah, that makes sense.
どうせ門外漢なんだし、漢字言ったことだけしっかり噛み締めておきなさい。
Yeah. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Sojiro nodded obediently to Aoko's professional lair instructions. This was Aoko's way of telling him not to ask questions when he didn't understand something. Sojiro had taken issue with her statement, meekly obeyed, knowing better than to object now. Aoko nodded approvingly at his attentiveness and started her lecture. Her long lecture.
まず魔術師、魔法使いの話からね。魔術と魔法の違いは宗十郎には関わりのない話だからしないけど、それぞれ別種のものだと思ってくれればいいわ。
Yep, magecraft and magic are not the same. If you think they're the same, then you do not understand the first thing about the power system of the Nasuverse. Because they are not the same. Make that mistake, and I don't think you're ready to learn the power set. Though that's
魔
over-exaggerating.
術師のことだけど、これは絶対条件として隠された存在でなくてはならないの。
Just know, like, unexplainable happenances are magic, explainable happenances are magecraft. To put it in a very nice and, like, simple way. Because as the game has taught us, magecraft is a shortcut to things, right? You need fire, magecraft can just give you fire instead of you having to go through the process of making the fire. It just gives you fire. Magic can give you something that doesn't exist. Like, you want I don't know, something, right? You someone that doesn't exist. Magic can just gives it to you, which is why it's a lot harder to obtain magic than just using magecraft. Because every mage wants magic, because that lets you do the impossible.
同業者に知られるのは仕方ないとしても、あなたみたいに関わりのない人間に知られるのは罪に当たる。ほとんど死罪クラスのね。なぜかっていうと、魔術ってのは隠されていないと力が薄れてしまうものだから。
Yeah.
神秘の語源は閉ざすというギリシャ語だけど、魔術は限られた水着でなければ魔術でなくなってしまう。
Yeah.
文明にとって未知なるもの、未開なるものは開かれていないからこそ恐怖に値するのと同じね。知られたら迫害されるから隠すじゃないの。
Yeah, because you can just kill them.
未知で亡くなった魔術師というより魔術ね。
Yeah.
明かされた魔術は力を弱めてしまう。だから隠匿するのよ。何より私たちの未来のために。
I didn't actually know that though. So the more unknown magecraft is, the stronger it is. So I guess whoever used magecraft first had it at its strongest because they were the only one who knew. Is what I'm assuming then. But that's interesting. I didn't know. Like there was actually a concrete reason for why they want to keep it a secret, except for just, hey, we just don't want everyone to know.
魔術の仕組みはよくわからないけど、とにかく自分だけの秘密でないと弱くなるってことか。
Yes.
じゃあ青崎も弱くなってるのか？俺が見ちゃったから。
いいえ、別に。ここからはちょっと込み入った話でね。
But you could have just said yeah, like a slightly, but
弱くなるっていうのはあくまで全体。それも随分と未来の話。個人単位では関係のない話よ。
I also misunderstood then. Alright. Maybe as a whole will get weaker. Okay.
汝、隠匿すべしって不分律は、この大元の仕組みが形骸化して、いつの間にか絶対のルールになっているだけなの。
Okay.
文明社会の法律と一緒よ。犯罪、不道徳を罰するのは、人間的であろうとする意識の高さと、それとは全く別の全体の仕組みを守るための構造的な結論でしょ。
Yeah.
犯罪が罰せられるのは、野放しにしたらせっかく築いた社会がうまく機能しなくなるから。
Yeah, okay.
で、私たちにとって犯罪に当たるのは神秘の一般化、低俗化であって、不道徳とか殺人とかはまあそれぞれの良心次第ってことで、基本的に罪にもならない。
So if you kill someone in the name of magecraft and mystic, you're fine. Got it.
そんなろくでもない連中にルールを敷いたのが魔術協会っていう集まり、組合みたいなものよ。
The Mage Association, yay!
魔術を普及の神秘とせよというのは、魔術を魔術として永続させるために敷いたルールに過ぎないわ。けどその原則は絶対でさ、
Don't expose magecraft.
これを破った者は魔術世界にはいられなくなる。
You're done so, kid.
いえ、実際問題として生きていくのが困難になる。
That makes sense. Don't.
私たちは私たちの、まあ魔術師としての命、
You don't want like Peep and Toms to be in your association. That makes sense.
そういうのを守るために目撃者であるあんたを消さなくちゃいけなかった。そこ、同情とかしなくていいから。私たちの事情を知ったぐらいで遊園地のことを帳消しにしないでよ。
Yeah.
私たちは私たちの判断であんたを殺そうとしたんだから、誰彼のせいってわけじゃない。恨むならきちんと私を恨んでちょうだい。ま、それはともかく、
Alright.
過去魔術師は職業として成り立ったぐらい社会に認知されていたけど、その魔術自体は墓まで持っていく秘密だった。
Okay.
それがどう歪んだかは知らないけど、現代ではその職業すら秘密にしなくてはならなくなった。そこまでしないと遠い未来、魔術すら消費するだけのものに解体されると教会は恐れたのよ。
Magecraft will be used up. Yeah, because magecraft, you like. I mean. No, because you use like circuits and. Like. And shit. And mana can be replenished. Right? So. What do I mean by
自
that?
然界の仕組みもかつて天上の領域だった宇宙の運営すら私たちは人知で解き明かせるほどになった。
Mm-hmm.
人の手に余るもの、神秘という未知の領域にとって魔術が最後の砦になると教会の設立者は信じたのかもしれない。
Even though magecraft is still explainable.
それとも魔術なんてもう意味がないって達観したのかもね。
Hmm.
そんなわけで魔術師はその正体を隠して各々の秘技を伝えていった。他人に教えるわけにはいかないから必然的にその伝承者は子孫になる。
Yeah.
私もアリスもそうやって何代か続いた連中の末なのよ。
That makes sense.
さっき言った魔術協会っていうのは、そんな細々と続いてる連中を束ねる一大組織。魔術師にとって司法の神ってところかしらね。
Yeah.
協会もいろんな派閥に分かれるんだけど、大抵の魔術師はロンドンの魔術協会に属している。汝隠匿すべしっていうのも協会の三大原則の一つよ。
Yeah.
魔術師が一般人に秘密を漏らすと、協会から罰が下される仕組みになっている。
Ooh.
そんな罰なんかなくても、自分と血族が伝えた魔術のために目撃者は消さないといけないんだけど。
Yeah, that makes sense. And that was the end of the first part of the lecture. I could pause for a moment. Someone's doing his best to process the information.
次行くけどいい？
いいけど、その前に確認したい。魔術師が正体を隠すのは自分のためじゃなく魔術のためだったけど、最近では自分の正体を隠すことの方が重要になっている。そしてその決まりを破ると教会というところからお咎めが来る。
Yeah.
つまり青崎たちもその教会に入っているのか？
Mm-hmm.
いいえ、私たちはフリーよ。一応教会とつながりはあるけどね。
Yeah, just because not everyone's part of the association.
単純に教会は最大勢力ってだけ。連中は頼まれもしないのに魔術世界全体の秩序を守ってるの。
And they just kind of accepted it.
だから私たちが何であれ彼らとの関わりがないにしても、魔術師としての決まりを破ったら罰しに来るわ。
Yeah, someone's gotta, keep order. I get that.
わかった。大体飲み込めた。
Yeah, so let's
よしよ
continue.
し。そうやって自分に必要な部分だけ手に入れなさい。
Yeah.
次は魔術について。と言っても、私自身語れるほど学んでいないんだけどね。
Magecraft's not that hard though.
ごめん、こっちの話だから忘れて。さっきも言ったけど、現代において魔術は無意味なものになりつつある。
It lives strong even today, but even in Tsukihime, because CL uses it, Arc uses it. I mean, but Arc uses it isn't really Magecraft. I mean, it's kinda. I know much CL uses is Magecraft, but
ライターのない大昔なら、火を起こせれば、それは魔術として成り立つわ。けど今は何かと便利でしょ。あなたならよくわかると思うけど。
yeah. Sojiro nodded with a glum look on his face. He made painfully aware of he had been made painfully aware of such conveniences. Difficult tasks that would occupy an entire day of work in the mountains could be performed easily here. For him, having been brought up in the mountains without electricity or running water, sea life was by definition magic. He wish it would not be such backbreaking work to adapt to such conveniences.
でも道具を使わずに火を起こせるのは神様の仕事だと思うけど。
That's fair.
そのために積み重ねた手間は、火炎放射器を手に入れるより面倒だとしても。
It still should be something we should be able to do. So I wasn't sure how to answer Aoka. It was easy for him to ask Aoka how much accumulated effort she thought it had taken humans to imitate those gods, but he knew it would come across as an insult.
さっきのを見る限り魔術ってのは何でもできると思ったけど、それは誤解なのか。
Exactly, so that's where you're wrong. You can't do everything. He has a glass bottle on the table. Mentally, he sighed in relief. He had not come to terms with the fact that he had been trapped inside that tiny thing. However,
あら、それこそ誤解よ。万能じゃなければ誰が魔術なんて学ぶと思ってるの？
Aoka puffed out her chest as she chided him.
手間暇かかるけど、魔術にできないことはないわ。
But I thought Major couldn't do the impossible.
中には、できていないけどできているように見せるみたいな何らかのイカサマはあるけどね。この世界に生まれた以上、その許容範囲でできないことなんてないの。そこで魔法が出てくるんだけど、それはまた改めて。
Something that we can't do within its limits.
私が言いたかったのは、魔術は奇跡を起こしているのではなくて、その過程が奇跡だってこと。
process is miraculous. I mean, it is miraculous to skip the entire fire making process and just get fire. Yeah.
結果が奇跡になるのは魔法の方なの。
Yeah.
偉大な魔術師っていうのは個人の魔術だけで旅客機飛ばしたりする人のこと。対して偉大な魔法使いっていうのは今不可能なことを可能にする人のことよ。
Yeah. Okay.
そういった意味じゃ私たちは最後の魔法使いになるかもしれないけどね。
Huh?
脱線してるわよ、青子。
I was quite listening until she muttered her rebuke. If I could cross the line.
そこまで教える必要はないでしょう。
Wait, Alice and Alcor are magicians?
しずきくんに教えるべきことは私たちと暮らす上で危険になることだけじゃなかった。
So they can actually... What? That's... Huh, I didn't think she was... I didn't think they were magicians.
悪かったわ。ちょい口滑らせた。
I thought they were mages, not magicians.
ともかく魔術師っていうのは暇さえあれば魔術の実験をしてる連中で、自分の家系が伝えてきた秘技を守るためなら鬼でも悪魔にでもなる。
Yeah.
必然そのアジト工房って言うんだけど、工房も魔術的な機構が積み重なって要塞みたいになっちゃうのよ。
Okay.
秘技を守るために入ってきた相手を問答無用で叩きのめす仕掛けとか。
Okay.
この洋館もそういった工房と同じなの。
No different.
武
Okay.
用心に歩き回ってさっきみたいなことになったら私でも助けてあげられないから、暗闇には気をつけなさい。気がついたら鏡の中にいるとか本気であるから。
I can believe that. So we so hoped it would provide him with a general idea of what to watch out for, but he passed, knowing that he was unlikely to get a straight answer.
枝葉から入っちゃったけど、要は私たちのプライベートに関わるなってこと。
Yeah, alright.
いくら最後には記憶を消すって言っても、それを見られた段階で消すしかないものもあるから。
That's fair.
なるほど。この中にもルールがあることはよくわかった。他に注意すべきことは。
His eyes wandered as he trailed off mid-sentence, pondering. He understood that the mansion was more dangerous than outside, and the Magikarp needed to stay a secret. The explanation seemed to contradict his current problem. For starters, how had he managed to witness something that they took such pains to keep hidden?
すまない。話の腰を折るんだけど、魔術師は教会という組織で結ばれてるんだろ？なら、どうして青崎はあんな人形に襲われたんだ？あれの持ち主が魔術師なら、君たちは味方同士で争っていることになる。何か説明が不足していないか？
Good question.
それは最後にしようと思ってたのよ。
Yep.
普通はここまでの話だけで眉唾者っていうか笑い飛ばすっていうか、いくら経験済みだからって魔術なんてもんをあっさり受け入れるなんてできないっていうか。
You told him to accept it, so he is. Scratched her head as though trouble out. Sojiro could take every word at face value. Across from her, Alice's face betrayed no expression, but she shared the same opinion.
おかしいのかそれ？
おかしいわよ。そもそもあんたは第一ステップから変だった。
Hey!
普通は驚いたり怖がったり無視したりするものなのに、どうして魔法使いだなんて言った私を信じたの？
Maid, not magician. In retrospect, this question should have been posed at the House of Mirrors. Back then, though Sojiro was surprised by seeing the phenomenon of magecraft for the first time, he showed no surprise or discomfort toward Aoko, the mage wielding it. Feeling the probing stares of the two girls, no, the two mages, made Sojiro feel uneasy. When he was standing, their suspicion was suspicious in and of itself.
何でも何もない。青崎、山ではね、あるものはあるのが当たり前なんだよ。
That sounds about right.
理由をつけられるだけの知識がなかったからにしても、実際に見たものを信じないなんてことはないんだ。
Yeah, because seeing is believing. Like, just because I see something fucking weird, but I don't have a way to explain it. Like, say I see magic. Do I have to explain it? No, but like I see it, so alright. I guess I'll just accept it. That's real. This car started floating in front of me. Alright, floating cars are real. Got it. You know, I'm just try to like deny it. If I see it, and therefore I know it.
それに君も言ったろ。あなたにとっては魔法もライターも同じものなんだろうって。
Yes. Though they really weren't the same to him anymore, he added quietly before shutting up. What you say about those innocent days in mountains had come from the heart. The words resonated with not only Aosaki, but also Alice Kuonji. Something everyone should have. Principles to stand by. Indeed, to this boy, those words were an unshakable truth.
あるものはあるか。
She was impressed, if only slightly. This boy, no matter how much of an outlier he was, could accept the things around him. He would be able to get through this just fine.
そうね。宗十郎はそうなのよね。簡単に信じてもらえることが信じられない。なんて、私たちの方がどうかしてたわ。
Slightly. So when Aoko met Sojiro for the first time. In that classroom on his first day, Sojiro took everything that was happening in his stride. Memory brought a bitter smile to Aoko's face. Well, I assume it's almost time to go to bed.
じゃ、気を取り直してっと。
Yeah.
宗十郎の疑問だけどね。魔術師もいろいろあって、教会に属していない連中もいるの。
Yeah, like
こうい
those
った
two.
連中は教会の目を盗んでやりたい放題で、利益目的で他の魔術師に喧嘩を売ってくる。
Yeah.
そんな連中にとって、私たちは都合のいい格好のカモなのよ。
Because you're not part of the association.
私
Therefore
たち
not
は
protected.
教会と協定関係にあるだけで、門下ってわけじゃないから。私たちが殺されたところで、教会は助けてくれないしね。
Yeah.
でも魔術師が魔術を使うのは禁じてるんだろ？
No, it's just
それが公にならないのなら、
Yeah.
教会は目をつむるわ。
just don't do it in public.
むしろ、バレなければ魔術師同士の争いを奨励してるぐらいよ。技術も使わないと錆びるってね。
Basically.
ま、私たちが襲われてるのはそれとは別の話で、単に土地を持ってるからなんだけど。
Which is this mansion.
土地ってこの家？
Yes.
まさか。この三崎市一帯の管理地の権利を持ってるのよ。私とアリスは。
Oh.
管理地ってつまり土地の利権？
Damn. I didn't know that. What? Alright. Dazzled, Sojiro looked away. He was sure he could see a halo of light around Aoko. He would have been renting it apart for 2 weeks. But he was already aware of how magnificent the prospect of owning land in the city might be.
おお。
What Sojiro was trying to articulate was rich. He shook all over with an emotion he did not fully grasp.
悪いけど、そういうんじゃないから。私たちで土地って言ったら、魔術師としての霊地の所有権、支配権のことを言うの。
Oh, we took it too literally.
うちはマイナーだけど、古くからこの辺りに根を下ろしてた魔術師で、三崎町もうちの管理下ってわけ。
We took land too literally.
管理地っていうのはね、霊的な力が歪んで集まりやすい土地のこと。そういう土地は昔から貴重で、魔術の実践、実験には不可欠でもある。
So it's a good place to experiment, basically. That's all it is.
成功への絶対条件は、優れた霊地、堅固な工房、多くの弟子たちってね。
And which is right here.
魔術師たちにとって、土地付き館付きの住み家を持つのは、一つの野望なんだから。
So not quite what you were thinking, Sojiro, or me. So I let her continue while wondering exactly who these two girls were to have achieved both ambitions already.
でもその管理地は大部分が教会に仕切られてて、もう余っている土地はないの。はぐれ魔術師や土地のない魔術師は教会に毎月寄付金を納めて土地を借りるしかない。手よく教会のお偉いさんたちに尽くす働き蜂ってところね。
Slamming away, huh? Even in the world of magecrafts, you can't escape the usual labors.
でもここの土地は何百年も前から青崎のものだから教会とは関係がないの。ここまで言えばわかるでしょ。
I get it. I don't know if he
そう
does.
いったフリーの連中からすれば私たちの管理地はこの上ないごちそうなんだって。
Exactly. Sojiro nods to himself, unsure whether to call the conversation mundane or outright disturbing.
よくわかった。青崎たちは土地の奪い合いをしているんだな。
Yes.
そういうこと。
Yes. Fighting for land. Constantly.
ただ岬の管理地はマイナーのさらにマイナーだからやってくる挑戦者も三流ばっかりよ。
Because they think it'll be easy picking, but then it turns out it's not. But they don't seem to fucking learn, do
今
they?
回の敵だってどっかの三流魔術師がここなら楽に奪えると思ってやってきたんだろうし、
Mm,
それもあんたの乱入で休戦してるんだけど。
that's not so bad, then.
管理地の話はそれで十分よ、青子。
Yeah.
しずきくんも他に魔術師がいると分かってくれたようだし。
Yeah.
危険があるとすれば私たちの戦いに彼が巻き込まれる可能性だけど。
それは大丈夫でしょ。だってこいつ魔力のかけらもないじゃない。魔力感知には引っかからないし番犬以下の人間は戦力って言わないから、狙われることもないだろうし。
No magical energy, huh? Hmm. Thought he had some, but I guess not.
私たちはただ忘却のルーンを見つけるまでこいつを逃がさなければいいだけでしょ。
Basically. I silently stared her partner down. Ideas of involving Sojiro differed greatly in both gravity and risk. Aga's lack of experience had led her to believe that Sojiro would not get directly involved in any fighting. It was an honest and rational thought. Aqua despised wasted action, so it was natural for her to expect the same frugality from her enemies. However, there were those in this world who could not tell right from wrong until it was too late.
先のことは誰にもわからないから。
Exactly. That's something good to live by. Take every day in stride because no one knows what the future will bring. So take every day to the fullest.
その時になって後悔がなければいいけれど。
Yeah. A gloomy sigh. Alice came to her feet.
ちょっと何のために長話したと思ってるのよ。一番重要なあんたの意見聞いてないんですけど。
Oh.
あなたがあなたの方針を守るというのならそれでいいわ。私も好きにするだけよ。
Alice glided soundlessly to the door. As the girl in black opened it, she paused, barely lit by the dim corridor. Then, without warning. Oh. The rhythm of her footsteps, the small glass bottle floated in the air and shattered without mercy.
あの時こうしておけばよかった。
Her sharp tone made Sojo's face go pale. Alice's voice was so quiet, it was hard to tell if she was being serious or mocking him.
私も言い忘れていたけど。
Though, she icily eyed them before turning away. And the voice even colder than her gaze stated,
まだ認めていないから。
Well, no. That makes sense. The frigid departure seemed to forebode the many difficulties that lay ahead. Oh, jeez.
たく往生際が悪い。
Sore loser. I could lean back on the sofa while hurling abusive epithets. Face looked even more irritated than usual.
見逃すのとここに住まわせるのは別問題よって。 じゃあそれ以外にどんな方法があるってのよ。
That's a bit stupid.
譲る気もなさそうだし、この分じゃ実力行使に出るかもね、あの子。
I mean, she kinda did that, though, at the park. Sojiro threw a wary glance at Alco while she grumbled. You wonder what Alice's show of defiance meant, shattering the glass bottle like she did.
宗十郎には記憶をなくしてもらうってことで話はつけたけど、心の底から納得してないってことでしょ。
She's really
ア
not.
リスにしちゃ珍しく他人を意識してたけど、やっぱりここに住まわせるとなると難しいみたい。寝
Maybe.
てる分には良かったけど、起きてるあなたを見たらこう、えも言わぬ自虐心を刺激されたとかさ。
Uh-oh.
気をつけてね、宗十郎。あ
Uh-huh.
の子、あんたを殺しに来るかもしれないから。
I'm expecting it. If anything, Aqua's warning was an indication that persuading Alice had hit a dead end.
なんか状況はあの夜からあまり変わってないようだね、青崎。
She shot him an unconcerned look in reply.
そうじゃないぞ。
I mean it.
青崎の次はあの子がやる気満々じゃないか。さっきみたいな目にあったら逃げることもできない。
No, probably not.
こういうの生殺しって言うんじゃないか。
Yep.
そうならないように努力するのね。
Just waiting for him to die at this point. That's what we're doing. Alright.
ま、アリスの理由は遊園地の時ほど切迫したものじゃないから、そのうち諦めてくれるとは思うんだけど。
We can hope.
青崎の時とは違うアリスの理由？
Wait, what?
ええ。遊園地の時は秘密厳守のためだったけど、それは一応解決してる。あんたが底抜けに律儀なやつだってのは、アリスだってもう分かってるし。
Right. His
なんで
earnesty.
秘密厳守云々であそこまで反対する理由はないの。あの子は単にね、ここに住んでほしくないだけなのよ。それだけで、アリスはあんたを殺したがってる。
That's fair. No, I get that. I understand that, yeah. You don't know this guy and he's gonna live in your home? Okay. Said so matter-of-factly, her eyes cold and serious. So I hope for a trace of deceit or exaggeration, but alas.
確かにあの子はそんな素振りだったけど、変だね。それならもっと他の手段を取ればいいのに。
Surely. Perhaps feeling guilt about putting Alice out, Sojiro looked uncharacteristically concerned. I immediately knew what his words really meant.
例えば、記憶を消す魔術が見つかるまで、さっきの小瓶の中に閉じ込めておくとか？
I mean, I guess. But the depth in her voice until now was gone. Sojiro answered with a simple nod. In truth, it was undoubtedly the easiest solution for all parties concerned. However,
宗十郎、私、約束は破らないの。覚えておいて。
yeah, she hated taking the easy way out. That quiet fury was clear in her soft words. As where the fury was directed, Sojiro was acutely aware. Pain in his chest made him regret making her say those words.
すまない。考えが足りなかった。
You usually don't, so don't worry about it. His sudden apology caused her usual sullen expression to return. I had not appreciated how angry she was, let alone the reason for it. To her, his apology had come out of nowhere.
あんたって、ほんとわかんないわね。なんでそこで謝るのよ。
She stared at Sojiro, unblinking.
あれ？そうだな。自分でもよくわからない。多分、そういう気分になったからだろう。
Sojiro, you're just all over the place today, huh? Even his saying he was not sure, Sojiro had answered honestly. Naoko was at a loss for words.
ただ、青崎の言いたいことは分かった。
Yeah, I get it.
約束を守るっていうことは、結果じゃなく、家庭を守るってことなんだな。
Exactly. Shot her a brazenly honest smile. That smiling face, filled with blissful ignorance, almost made her smile back instinctively.
当たり前じゃない。オチだけ合ってればいいなんて恥ずかしくてできないでしょ。
Nice little blush there, alright, little blush. I'm quite tempted to cover for her embarrassment with a quick retort, though unintentional. Having her true feelings exposed like that made Aqua a little uncomfortable. Finding offense in something was second nature to Aoko. Made to feel uncomfortable was not. Though far from being unhappy at the remark, she turned away from its speaker. To disguise her perceived shame, Aoko started up the conversation again.
あなたを見逃すって言うなら気持ちの問題じゃなくてちゃんと状況もそうなるようにするのは当たり前なの。
And we appreciate that, Aoko. Thank you.
宗十郎をここに住まわせることがあの約束を守ることになるんなら厄介なアリスだって言い伏せるわよ。
Because you're so strong-willed.
脅かすだけならまだしもずっと瓶付けなんてさせられるわけないでしょ。
Thank you, Aoko.
そっか。青崎があの子を説得しない素振りなのは、もうできるだけの説得をした後だからなのか。
Not my favorite Sojiro expression, because there is just nothing between those eyes.
それで彼女とは冷戦中なんだ。
Yes.
別にあんたのためじゃないわ。私は私のために約束を守ってるだけだし。
Well, I mean, you're kind of doing it for him. I mean, kind of?
お察しの通り、私のやるべきことはもう終わってるし、あとはそっちが努力する番だから勝手にすれば。
Huh? He replied, tilting his head.
あのね、いい？同居案を何とか認めさせることができるのは私だけだから、2日間ぶっ通しでアリスを言い伏せもした。けどそれ以上は無理。
A dead end. Fuck.
私、ここから先はノータッチだから。
Okay.
しばらくはアリスから守ってあげるけど、その間にあの子にあんたを認めさせることは、あんたにしかできないんだからね、宗十郎。
You have to prove prove your worth, basically. That you're worth keeping here until the time has come. Alright.
なんと、
What? Huh? Which I not expected that at all. Alice Kuonji. The girl in black who kept everyone at arm's length. Ako was a modern-day mage in hiding, then Alice was a bona fide witch from the Middle Ages.
青崎、君、自分がどれだけ難しいことを言ってるか分かってるか？
Yeah, like you understand. Ako, you understand this, right? How impossible that's gonna be, right?
そうね。私もこの件に関してだけは同情するわ。
Yeah, that's fair. Ako stood up from the sofa. This is the end of the discussion, at least for now.
私たちがどんな人間かはおおよそ分かったでしょ。
Yeah.
魔術に関してはこれ以上立ち入らない方があんたのためだから、説明はここまでね。
Awesome, but I want to know that.
で、肝心の今後の方針だけど、3ヶ月間ここで暮らす。
At least 3 months. At least
当
3.
初の目標というより最初の試練は、なんとかアリスに同居人として認めてもらうこと。
Shouldn't be that hard. Would only probably take a month or 2 or 3.
試練って言った。今そういう類のことを言った。
Yeah, you just called this shit a trial, bro. What?
ごまかしてもいいことないでしょ、この手のことは。
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, pal. Sorry, Sojiro, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
うまくいかなきゃ粉々なわけだし。
Yeah. With a cold-blooded remark, Hako started walking toward the door.
あ、そうそう。
Oh, one more thing.
宗十郎の部屋だけど、3階に用意しといたから。2階のホールの裏側に階段があるから使って。ここは寮ってわけでもないし、時間は自由に使いなさい。
But not go outside.
ただし、西館にだけは入らないようにね。東館は私が借りてるから比較的安全だけど、それでも歩き回らない方が無難だわ。
Because West Wing is Alice. I remember that.
基本安全なのは、あんたの部屋とここだけよ。
Your room and the drawing room. Yes. Okay.
中の説明ってまさかそれだけ？
No way.
青崎はいろいろおかしい。魔術なんかよりもっと大事な説明があると思う。
That seems really important. The foot. He desperately called out to her as she began leaving the drawing room. I could not help but pity Sojiro.
せめてほら、案内とか。
Something.
面倒なんでパス。おのぼりさんを案内するなんて2回もやれば十分よ。起きたばっかりだし、とりあえず今日は部屋で休んだら。朝になったら学校まで案内してあげるから。
I mean, alright, that's something, I guess.
もっとも、私もそう暇じゃなし。 そばについてあげられるのは期末試験が終わるまでってことで。
Oh, Aoko. You are cruel. Cruel, you hear me? That's what you are.
1週間以内にアリスと仲良くなるなり弱みを握るなりしないと、まああれよね。
We have a week? Oh, fuck. We barely had a way of a goodbye. The student council tired and walked out. Fuck, we have a week, Sojiro. How the fuck are we gonna convince her in a week? He constantly clenched the hand he had raised. Left all alone, he was at a complete loss. Then, as if to encourage him... Oh! The bird! Sound of lightly fluttering wings, a blue robin appeared out of nowhere. The tiny, chubby bird innocently looked Sojiro up and down. Blue robin, birds said to bring happiness, according to folklore, flapped his little wings as if to cheer him on. Then, with a flutter, it mercilessly flicked off the lights. Well, good luck, Sojiro. Leave Sojiro alone in the drawing room. I can return to her bedroom. Closed the door to her room, and as soon as she sat on her bed, she was overcome by an unexpected wave of exhaustion. Sojiro had no way of knowing, but she had been preparing for war. Couldn't Alice impulsively pulled out a ploy? Naoko had to be ready to react in an instant. She sighed heavily. Not from the fatigue she felt at fighting with
ちょ
Alice.
っと突っぱねすぎたか？
No, you were about as straightforward as you normally are. She frowned a dejected frown. Sorry. When Aqua's mind was not Alice.
でも甘くするのはあいつのためにならないし、
Yeah, she did it fine.
基本おとなしくしてもらった方がいいわけだし。
Yep. Ruby Trophy wandered around like he owned the place, after all. The safest thing for him would be if he holed up in his room, too scared of his wits to leave it.
青崎は味方だなんて勘違いされても困るしね。
He already does, but, you
ア
know.
リス同様、人手なし扱いされた方が楽だわ。
She nodded to herself, agreeing with her take on the situation. For the most part, it was a sound plan. If there were a problem, it would be this.
すまない青崎。一つ聞きたいことがあるんだが。
Not 10 minutes had passed since leaving him in the drawing room. For Sawyer to shirk off what she had said and visit her room so fast, it was like he had no sense of danger at all. Hey.
実は外に出たいんだ。
Of course you would ask her to leave the house. You lacked the energy for a sarcastic barb.
洋館の中は歩き回らないし、用を済ませたらきちんと戻ってくる。ただ、門限とかあったら聞いておこうと思って。
No. Or is there?
でも、アルバイトには行くのよね。
You got work now? How did you know? Sojiro exclaimed in surprise. It was Aoko who decided to display her shock at him.
まあいいわ。基本、午後10時まで。その時間には必ず屋敷にいること。その後は夜勤に出かけるなり、庭でバーベキューするなり、何でも好きにしていい。
Do what you want, don't care. Just be back by 10.
それと、玄関に鍵はかかってないから。
That is really stupid, but alright.
気のせいじゃなければだけど。青崎、すごく怒ってないか？
Yes, Sojiro.
あんた相手に気を使った自分に呆れ果ててるだけよ。外に出るのはいいけど、その前にこの錠剤飲んで。
What?
ん？
Sojiro took the purple pill from her outstretched hand and dubiously put it in his mouth. To himself, they must have been some kind of medicine.
それじゃあ行ってくる。いろいろありがとう、青崎。
Sojiro, she could have given you just a poisonous pill that kills you and you just don't bat an eye, alright, man.
あっそ。今度は窓から出ていかないでよね。
Not the window, please use the door. Sojiro laughed himself all the way to the foyer, unsure what exactly he had found funny. I watched them go, both indifferent and amazed all at once.
ま、予定が半日早まっただけか。あの薬を飲ませるの、明日の朝にしてあげようと思ったのに。
What's the pill for? She huffed, ruffling her hair in exasperation and returning to her room. Discerning what made Sojiro tick was a waste of brain matter. In all likeliness, he was more concerned about missing 2 days of work than his own well-being after being bedridden for 2 days. Though you don't really need to work, Sojiro. You have this mansion, but I get it. Routines and all that. With a day's work behind him, Sojiro returned to the mansion.
よし。どこを探しても、2階のホールから上がれる階段はここだけだ。
Yeah. Just before midnight. This was a scene that awaited him beyond the rickety staircase. Not much surprise, Sojiro. Or rather, being surprised had become normal to him. This scene, however, was enough to leave him speechless. The room allotted to Sojiro. No matter how he looked at it, no matter how he ran it through his mind, was without a shadow of a doubt an attic. It's kind of pretty, though. This treatment stirred a tinge of anxiety in him. To flop onto the taut sheets on his bed, I wonder if he could make this work despite his share of other problems. You notice an awkward courtesy, so meager as to be useless.
寒かったら重ねて使うこと。これはサービスとする。
A blanket. Mentioning the memo pointed to the meticulous personality of the offer. The bed had been perfectly prepared. Carefully setting aside the blanket that had been painstakingly placed on the edge of the bed for him in case he needed it, he looked up at the sky. Though faint, the stars twinkled through the skylight. For a mountain boy, that meager light was more than enough for him. The stark contrast with the drawing room had caught him off guard. Now he had collected himself. It wasn't so bad. This room fit his personality. Even if he's still not used to the building, he felt more at ease here than he did at any building in the city. Perhaps because it was built on a hill, surrounded by woods. The atmosphere here was a little closer to the mountains where he used to live.
あ、でも、家の中に霧が出るのはどうなんだろ
He crooked his neck, pondering over the spectacle he had witnessed. Going to his room, Sojiro had encountered what looked like fog in the foyer on the second floor. What the fuck is that? The fog drifted into a portion of the corridor, reminding him of a swarm of mosquitoes. He stared at it. He swore he could make out a strange landscape as he moved closer to get a better look. Again, out of nowhere, here inside of the mansion, a little blue bird darted purposely in front of him.
う。鳥
As soon as there's something they're doing and we don't touch that. Blue bird caught his attention, stopping him in his tracks. He went to check on the fog again. The strange scene had disappeared.
この家、隙間でもあるのかな明日青崎に聞いてみるか。
Surely that's it. Giraffes. That's gotta be it. He muttered to himself as he sat on the bed. Meager as it was, the starlight peeping in from the skylight calmed him down.
これなら。
It does look very nice. Exhaling slowly, he lay down. For the time being, he had the essentials needed to live, and his bed was many times softer than it appeared. Making his worries seem smaller than they were, he quickly drifted off to sleep. This does seem very comfortable. Like, deadass, I'd live in that attic. That looks kind of nice. Like, just get some more furniture up there. You know, like, like a desk, get a small little TV or something, Use some game systems, some video game shelves, a plush or something. And bro, Gucci, I live in the attic. That was the story of from when he opened his eyes to when he fell asleep. Just like that. The short night following the long night was over. For one thing was true. Sojiro was Sojiro was an optimist to a fault, but it wasn't the end of the world. Now, let's rewind 5 hours prior to this glutton for punishment going to bed. Which I assume is this fog situation. Yes. It was 7 o'clock in the evening, just after the unproductive discussion between the two mages and the boy had ended. Leaving her roommate and the intruder in the drawing room, the girl walked alone through the foyer. From there, she headed to the west wing. These were Alice Kuonji's personal chambers, in which even her roommate, Aoka Aosaki, seldom dared to step foot. The foyer was illuminated only by pale moonlight. Hard footsteps echoed through the dreary moonlit lobby. In such mansions in Japan, there was no custom for removing shoes at the door. Hence, Alice crossed the foyer in her boots. She removed them when she relaxed in her bedroom. Suddenly, she remembered something from her childhood. She used to enjoy the feeling of the cold hardwood floor on her bare feet, and would walk around the foyer on particularly sunny days. After her father affectionately scolded her for it, she never did it again.
そうだったわね。青子は結局守らなかった。
Yeah, why? She let out a quiet sigh. Alice's new roommate, whom she took on after coming to Japan, would not comply with her instructions.
落ち着かないものはしょうがない。
Yeah. Aika would say, changing into her slippers, Aika might have found it natural to do so given that she lived in a typical Japanese house for middle school, but every time Alice heard her flip-flopping through the foyer, she wanted to cancel their cohabitation. By now, Alice was not particularly bothered by it anymore. Human adaptability was remarkable at times, and ungracious at others. The emotional attachments of the past have proved far too brittle under the weight of reality. A little blue bird was perched on a banister. Sudden chirping made Alice stop and look its way.
今夜は放っておくわ。今は青子の問題よ。
Yeah. Like a feeling in her voice made the bird tilt its head as it sang. Tweet, tweet, tweet. It thrilled, as though questioning its master's uncharacteristic leniency.
約束は約束よ。今夜ぐらいは多めに見ないと。
うん。
青子と彼はそれだけの活躍をしたのだし。
Yeah. She said to the bird, her voice betraying her discontent. If you win, I'll let you go. She would keep that promise, in spite of the unquenchable desire to fight that burn in her chest.
でも、その後の処遇は別の話。
True.
条件付きのゲームに勝ったぐらいで、いつまでも得意げでいられるのは心外だわ。
Perhaps it was perfectionism born of fastidiousness, but despite her prime demeanor, Alice Kuonji was a sore loser. It did not matter to her whose mage class was superior, losing the game had proven hard to move on from. That bird's going fucking crazy. The little bird fluttered its wings in agreement. Drinking Alice's contempt, it was itching to dive bomb the invader. Look at a soldier saluting a superior officer has reprieved itself. The bird turned to face its master. Jesus, you're talking a lot. Its light-hearted tweeting seemed to display a desire to deal with Sojiro first thing in the morning.
そうね。理由さえできたのなら、瓶なり本なりに入ってもらいましょう。
Except, her words lacked any bite. On the face of it, they were the chilling kind one might come to expect from a witch's lips. But then again, so tame as to remind you of a certain robin's flapping.
しばらくの話よ。けど、それも一時だけ。私の我慢も長くは続かないし。
Interesting.
だいたい、青子も人にかまけていられる立場じゃないわ。5日もすれば思い知るでしょう。そうすれば。
5 days, huh? That time came, expelling him would be simple. Alice was well aware her roommate was a pragmatist with no vision. Situation she'd created would not allow her to wait around. She could only afford to protect that boy for 3 or 4 days at most. Beyond that, Alice sensed Alka would crack and say something like, "You take care of this, Alice."
それまで待つか、あるいは私の我慢が効かなくなるか。
Who knows?
どちらにしても結果は変わらないわ。
Sojiro will die in like 3-4 days, or like 4 or 5 days, got it. Alice Kuonji would suffer no more irritations. Protecting a witness, let alone them to live in her mansion, was an indignity. Alice looked up, fascinated by the dense fog that had crawled into the foyer. Above the fireplace was a single mirror, roughly 3 feet in diameter, decorated the wall where one might find a painting. Its surface was faintly clouded and faintly reflected in the foyer's appearance. Wait, so she also doesn't know what it is?
スナークをなくした影響でしょうね。
Ah.
鏡の機能、しばらくは制御できないみたい。
The little bird joyfully chirped at its master's mumbling. But attempt to imply that there was no need for it to lift a finger, now that the nuisance would fall into the mirror of another accord. Or perhaps, had the little bird had not sang, Alice would have come to the same conclusion. That's not supposed to say had again there, I assume. For some reason, being black sucks. That's a fair statement. Yeah, that's fair to say that, yeah. I'm not gonna say anything against that, yeah. Alright. What happened? Do explain. Or is it just something you wanted to say? I mean, either or works. For some reason, she recalled an earlier conversation.
これでも一番無難だと思う。
Never called me a hellcat. What the fuck? What is that? Also, who called you that? Saki? Why would he say that? Nah, oh. In response to our question, the boy inside the bottle shrugged his shoulders and answered. From his perspective, the city and the mansion were no different. It seemed that having just moved from the countryside, everything was something he had never seen before.
自慢できることじゃないが、まだ書き物さえ満足にできないし、都会のルールは複雑すぎて、何が正しいのかさえ区別がつかない。
It's like a sports car? What the hell? Okay, what is this? Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, it is a car. Oh, yeah, these kind of cars. Oh. Yeah, that's kind of racist for real. What the heck? What? That's kind of... That feels kind of racist, don't it? That low-key feels kind of racist. Because I assume that if you have a car, that you don't have that kind of car. More than embarrassment, his voice was full of resentment. He was angry about something. Alice could not tell what. Yeah, that's why I'm like, that's why I figured, like, you probably don't even own a Hellcat. Like, huh? I mean, it's hard to say what kind of car. Could I guess what, if you have a car, could I guess what kind of car you have? I don't know. I'd assume you're something like normal. Or quote unquote normal. Any car's normal. Just like, you don't strike me as like a super car, you know? Like, just like something that works, right? Not something that's shit obvious. Like what? I'm assuming just like a quote unquote normal car, you know? Because I don't know, you don't strike me as the kind that buy a super expensive car to try to flex. That's just me though. I could be wrong, but that's just me. You don't strike me as the kind to flex an expensive car. But
だから、どこにいても危ないことに変わりはないんだ。
yeah, I mean that's it's expensive, yeah, but that's still just yeah, exactly. Like it's expensive, sure, but that's still just like it's just an electric car. It's nothing special about it. There's nothing like crazy about it. Sure, it's a Tesla, which is pretty expensive, but it's nothing like it's not like a sports car or like a super car or something. You know, it's just a normal Tesla. Which that's what would I assume? Well, car category wise, I assumed it was something just kind of ordinary. Yes. Because why spend a fuckload of money on a super pumped car? You know, unless you're going to be driving a lot, what's the point?
極端な話、道を歩くだけでも、人と話すだけでも不安になる。俺は、どこでだろうとうまくやっていける保証はないんだよ。
But still, that's not bad. Taking care of the environment, not bad, not bad. I respect it. Protect the environment, I respect it.
けど、ここにはそんな奴に気を使ってくれる人がいる。気遣ってくれる理由は物騒なものっぽいけど、それは本当に贅沢なことだと思うんだ。
When I was younger, and I wanted a car, I wanted a Porsche. I don't know why. There was a specific kind of Porsche I wanted. I forgot the name of it. It's been so long, I don't remember. But I knew I wanted a Porsche. Now, I don't want a car. I don't want one. I'll just take the commute, man. I'll just take the bus. I don't want a car. If I end up in a car accident, I do not want me to potentially be the problem or be the reason for it. I'll just take the bus. And if the bus gets in an accident, well, shit. Bad driver, I guess. Her eyes welled up ever so slightly. Those soft words were something she could not brush off, because they made sense to her. Given that everything in the city was a danger to him, nothing had changed after coming to the mansion. In reality, he had no reason to fear this place in particular. If anything was different from the outside, it would be that someone here was his ally. That view, he had been entirely sincere. His explanation hadn't contained any flattery towards Alice Kuonji, more pandering to Kawasaki. He was simply speaking from the heart. I like it here.
今鏡に迷い込まれるのは迷惑ね。
Alice? Alice, are you, coming around?
鏡の機能は侵入者の探索に専念させたいし、彼が迷い込みそうになったら止めてあげて。
The bird shook its feathers at a strange instruction. Alice looked away from the mirror and continued her walk. The bird chirped in protest.
あなたの仕事よ、ロビン。それぐらいの役には立って。
Damn, at least get that right. The bird with that ice retort, she vanished into the west way. Damn. Get something right, you damn bird. All that remained was the moonlight. And the little blue bird, trembling at the perilous prospect of unprecedented change. The bird is shook off to the core. Any more for these? Oh, and that's the end of the chapter. Yatta! Are there any archive footage? No. Well, I tried. This is fucking long. Damn. None of these, but this is kind of long. Damn. Alright, nice. Another chapter down. Let me, save. And let's just go straight on to the next chapter. That was pretty decent. I like that. Simple. Not too crazy. Alright. What chapter number is this? 7? Jesus. Once, long ago, I saw a beautiful bird fly overhead. Round and round, it circled distant blue sky. How high it flew in this era when humans, not birds, reigned supreme. And yet the bird was completely uninterested. Humanity's endless desire for expansion, our creation of even higher homes, or the smoke bellowing from industry's chimneys. The sky extends further than the eye can see. It belongs to no one. Not now, not then. The bird was a truly noble creature. Hold on. Like, I'm the least blackest black person ever. That is a sentence. Which, I mean, I haven't known. I think. Now, this might sound crazy. I think you're like. No. I had black friends. I've had black friends at school. No, yeah, I was about to say, like, you're the only black friend I've had. No, I've had friends who are black. So, no. But, not like they, like, quote unquote acted. I mean, as you would put it, like, they acted quote unquote black. But, I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, you'll be surprised? What do you mean? I mean, to me, you're just like any other person. Like, you're different from me, and yeah, that makes you a different person. So, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, you have to act a certain way because of... I'm blasting rock music? Hell yeah, I like the sound of that, fuck yeah. I fuck with that. Rock music? Hell yeah. As we speak. W, what kind of music? I fuck with that. You know I do. But like, so? Like, just because you're black, you don't have to listen to rap music. What the heck? You don't have to listen to, like, a certain kind of music. Because of, like... I'll send the song? W. I'm trying not to say, like, wrong words here. English language is fucking with me. I guess just... Yeah, you don't have to listen to rap music because, you know, of your skin color. Like, that's... Frankly, I find that kind of stupid. But I guess that's me being ignorant. Flapping its wings powerfully across the wild ancient sky. That was extremely fucking unnecessary. Who's playing Duck Hunt out here? Bro, who's playing Duck Hunt? Come on! Until the sound of cold iron. The wing is shot, its symmetry gone forever. Cruel and tragic. Its body plummets downwards. Not knowing its fate, the bird finally beats its wings till the very end. One moment soaring with eyes to the sky, next crashing down to the dry, hardened earth. Bro, what the fuck? This was a dream I saw. But how much I thought about it, its details remained clouded. What did that bird look like, for instance? Oh, we're at school. Burp. Boom. Boom.
はい、今日の授業はここまで。
Chapter 7. Are you for real? Well, yeah, Kumi, how was watching Mushoku Tensei? Or I guess your rewatch. How far did you get? Because I don't think you ever said how far did you get. No, you didn't. I'm curious. Well, some of you at least got to like episode 2 or 3. Or past episode 2, so I assume like 3 or 4.
試験範囲の総まとめなんかやっちゃいましたけど、これうちのクラスだけですから、よそのクラスには内密にお願いしますね。担任特権と思ってください。
Homeroom bonus, W.
ほら、原告の平均点ぐらいは学年一番にしておくと、皆さんも鼻が高いと思いまして。
W. Mr. Yamasori chuckled as he finished. This was typical of the kind teacher responsible for Year 2 Class C, the master of relaxing his pupils. No new archive? No, there has not been any. No, I can place a Pokemon real quick. And check. And go check. But yeah, G2, there's not been any new, I can double check if I missed any. Not that. But yeah, there's not been any new archives yet. Yeah, see? There's not been an archive since the first one. Like, this was the last time we had an archive, not this one. This. This was the last time we had an archive. Everything else has been main story, so I don't know if I'm missing something or not. Yeah, so I assume I'm just gonna keep reading as always, right? Yeah. So now, W. Yeah, I assume I'm just gonna keep reading. Yeah, I'll just keep on reading. Alright, back to it. This is typical of the kind teacher responsible for Year 2 Class C, the master of relaxing his pupils.
先生、口元に本音出てる。鼻を高くしたいのは私たちじゃないですよね。
Truly. Set. I'll listen to that after stream then. Ooh, it's on Spotify? Alright, I can use that. Shall I take my leave? Thanks for stopping by, Kumi. Your stopping by is always appreciated. So, thank you.
鼻っていうかメンツですよね。先生、里中先生に嫌味言われてばっかりだし。
Alright, have a good day.
つーかはっきり言えばいいんすよ。お前ら頭悪すぎだって。いやまあ、うちのクラス見事なまでに体育会系ばっかりだけどさ。
Are totally excellent sports skills. Yeah, okay.
いえいえ、テストの点数だけが学生生活ではありませんから、僕から言うべきことは何も。
Are you sure about that, Teach?
先生方もそこまで目くじら立ててるわけじゃないので、別にクラス全員が赤点でも僕の人生には何ら関わりはないんですけどね。
Because that's something to tell your students. Yeah.
しかし一方では一人厄介な御人がおりまして。
Because this is what you're supposed to tell your students, yeah.
皆さんが選んだ全校生徒代表の方なんですが、これが恐ろしいのなんの。テストの点数が低いのは生徒ではなく教育する側が無能だからです。教育委員会への報告準備はいつでもできていますので、と日夜脅してくるんですよ。
So you're telling them because you're afraid of outcome. Alright.
それでも生徒たちが治らないようなら、その時は直接私が監督します。とか、生徒としてどうなんですかね、あれ。
Well, it seems you're not doing a good job then. Mr. Yamasiro? Yeah. Warm atmosphere of the room suddenly fell below freezing. Students of Class C now knew who their true enemy was.
ああ、そっか。山城先生生徒会の顧問だったっけ。ナムナム。
Yeah.
さすがは応援団を立ち直らせた女傑。教師一人退職に追い込むなど造作もね。
Yeah.
やっぱりな。会長絶対年サバ読んでるって。あの迫力、同年代と思えねえし。
No, right.
ほら、うちの女子と比べると特に、こう、おっぱい的に。
That's... You know what? That's what you focus on with Alco? You know what? Fair enough.
先生、木の実だけでも A 組に引き取ってもらえませんか。そりゃ男子はみんな猿ですけど、こいつだけレベルの違う猿ですよ、絶対。
Apes? What? Just because Sojiro's from the mountains doesn't mean he's an ape. He's a human, which derived from a. Alright, I see what you mean.
あれ、でも女子 A 組だけどあんまり成績良くねえよな。中の上ぐらいじゃなかったっけ。
Yeah.
そうだけど別にいいんじゃない。塾も行ってないし、生徒会仕切ってたまにバイトまでしてるんだから。あれで学年トップだったら逆に気持ち悪すぎ。
Be heinous, real horrible.
だよな。周囲は副会長に任せとけばいいんだよ。
Yeah, Tomar, you got it.
まあまあ皆さん、噂話はそのあたりで。地獄耳という言葉もありますから。
We do it all the time, bro. Shut up.
じゃあ、それなりに復習をよろしく。 あんまり点数が悪いと冬休みそのものがなくなりますからね。
Now that's a punishment.
それとしずきくん、ちょっといいですか？
Oh no. So Yamasura gathered his things and beckoned for Sojiro to join him in the hallway. Uh-oh. No other students to be seen despite it being break time between classes. Voices were audible in the distance, but the hall itself felt strangely quiet and calm. Perhaps it was due to a sense of confinement created by the lack of windows. Usually students spent their breaks either in their classrooms or on the veranda.
何ですか、山城先生。
いえ、そう大した用事じゃないんですけどね。
Are you sure?
試験前にこんな話をするのもデリカシーがないんですが、気になったので。
Ah.
学校には慣れたかな？
Asking just how we're settling in. That's fair, that's fair. Whoa. That's, alright. Though this level of concern from a teacher startled him, Sojiro felt reassured. It was only natural. After having had to deal with such difficult personalities lately, Mr. Yamasura's trivial questions were refreshing.
はい。学校の作りや決まりなら自分なりに分かってきました。友達も増えましたし。
Hell yeah, Sojiro.
そっか、それはよかった。うちのクラスは口の悪い面々だけど、その分気を使わなくていいからね。
Yeah, they're all
しず
just
きくん
kind
と
of...
相性が良くて助かったよ。
They seem to be talk, no bite, which is good. Sometimes that's fine, right? Just say some comments here and there, but it's all in good spirit. They're all in this together, you know. Sora's eyes shone brightly in appreciation. Nako's words, Yamasura was a brutish, forgettable, downright detestable man who did not even deserve the title of teacher. But Sojiro found him considerate in his own way.
アルバイトもほどほどにね。試験前だって言えば、大抵のところは休ませてくれるから、あまり無理はしないように。
Yeah, don't. Please be careful, Sojiro.
また、試験で困ったことがあったら、周りに相談しなさい。一人で悩んでいても時間の無駄だよ。ほら、学校っていうのは話し相手にだけは困らないから。
Yeah. The wave of his hand, Mr. Yamasiro was gone. The pure-hearted Sojiro gave him a solemn nod as if to say he accepted the advice of his so-called forgettable teacher and went back into his classroom. And then...
女のことで相談だ。
That's not... Sojiro, I don't think that's what Mr. Yamasiro was talking about when he said ask your classmates for advice on things. I don't think that's quite what he meant, man. Sojiro had not wasted a moment in putting Yamasiro's advice into practice.
そうらしい。難問にぶち当たっているんだ。
They don't make sense.
深く考えてみて気づいたんだが、どうも自分は発想が貧困らしい。
Oh, I like this song. Sojiro averted his gaze out of shame over his lack of insight.
いや、豊かだと思ってたことがびっくりなんだけど。まあいい、こっち来い。
You came to the right guy. You come to the right place. Shocked as he was, Konami grabbed Sojiro by the shoulder and pulled him over to the wall. Konami had nearly burst out laughing when Sojiro, with a straight face, had admitted his difficulty with girls. But he realized it was the first time Sojiro had ever turned to him for advice. Sojiro was always able to break down any task at his part-time jobs into bite-sized pieces. But he was clearly struggling with a different problem now. This was going to take some serious effort.
で、なんかやっちまったのか、Yo.
How bad did you fuck up, man?
これからやるのかもしれない。木の実、例えばの話、マッドベアにハリセンボンみたいな女の子が入ってきたとする。
Okay.
その子は俺が嫌いで、マッドベアから出て行ってほしいようなんだけど、俺はマッドベアを辞めるわけにはいかない。
Okay. Sojiro explained that he couldn't just quit his part-time job at the restaurant, he needed the money. He grunted a few times to indicate he was still following Sojiro's story.
つまりその女を追い出したいと。
逆だ。なんとか認めてもらいたい。
Mm.
隠していたけど、俺はその女の子が嫌いというわけじゃなくて。
Don't not like her. Sojiro furrowed his brow. Kenobi could not help but laugh at his friend's lack of manly resolve in his answer. Girls were the one area where Hosuki's skills and expertise and experience were triple those of Sojiro.
なんだよ、要はナンパかよ。むしろ仲良くなりたいってわけ？
Yes, I want to get along with Alice. Now please help me. Sojiro wasn't sure how to respond. He nodded slowly without really understanding the implication of what Kenobi had said.
けど、どうすればいいのかわからない。そもそもどうやって同い年の女の子と仲良く話ができるんだ？
How, bro? How?
クラスの女どもとは話してんじゃん。あれでいいんだっつの。俺は羨ましいっつの。
Because he talks not from a place of affection? Or, like, yeah, like affection? He just talks to him like a person.
持ち前の天然系で押してけばいいべ。
I mean, maybe? Maybe that works?
山育ちってのは希少なアイデンティティだと思うぜ。珍しいものは生かさないとさ。
True. Good point, good point.
そうかな。珍しいというのはあんまりいいことじゃない気がする。
That's tricky. Some find it good, some find it bad.
だいたいそもそも嫌われている場合はどうすればいいんだ？クラスのみんなは親切だけど、相手はハリセンボンだ。いや、この際ハリネズミでもいい。
そういう場合はめげなきゃいいんだよ。相手が折れるのを待つって寸法だな。トゲだけに。
Yes. Soldier's brow sunk deeper still.
この例え話はダメだ。
Yeah, you should just stick to something plain. You needed more concrete material to work with.
ばっか。女なんてのは機嫌を取ってればいいんだよ。
Yeah. You gotta put in the work and the effort.
まずは女の趣味とか大事にしてるもんとか聞いて、そこをフォローすればいい。自分の都合より相手の都合だ。まずは外堀から攻めろってことだな。
I wouldn't say do that, but it's a start. I'd say just have conversation with the person, you know, just have a conversation. What that conversation is doesn't really, the topic itself isn't too important. Just like talk and try to get to know him through little bits and pieces here and there as you're having a conversation about something. It could be anything, really.
外堀、外回りか。
But yes.
もち。その後はまあ結局はこれが一番効果的なんだけどな。袖の下ってやつ。
Oh,
プレ
this
ゼン
is
トで釣れ。
oh, this is horrible advice. Sojiro, do not listen to him. Kenobi's giving you horrible advice. That's no. That's terrible advice. Don't do this. Oh no. Bribery? Oh my god.
その時の需要と供給さえ合えば嫌われてても受け取ってもらえる。受け取らせちまえばあとはそれが義理になるってもんだ。
This is terrible advice. Kenobi proclaimed with an odd sense of pride that this approach had resulted in only failure for him.
けど問題がある木の実。確かにご飯とかそういうのをおごってもらうと嬉しい。けど
そんな金はないってんだろ。わかってるわかってる。
You do now.
仕方ないね。そういうしずきくんのために一丁割のいいバイトを紹介してやろうじゃねえのよ。
Oh no. They slid from the side of the classroom deeper to one corner, to in front of the lockers where no one ever stayed for long. It would be days before Sojiro realized the suggestion he was receiving was of the illegitimate kind. The kind he should not have shared with anyone. Sojiro, are you gonna start dealing in drugs? Because that's not very good. That night, dinner at the mansion was a feast of bread. soft slices lay stacked in the center of the table, surrounded by variously colored jams. A bowl with salad, made lettuce, with a small plate of unevenly cut ham. Sojiro may have had no frame of reference for what an average family dinner should be, but he could tell that this was most certainly not normal. In truth, it was a first-rate case of laziness.
チョコのペースト切れたままじゃん。アリス、新しいの買っておいてって言わなかった？
No way.
今日は一日部屋にこもっていたから。
But
第一、チョコレートを食べるのはあなただけよ。自分のものは自分で調達をするべきね。
if you eat it, you buy it, you know? If it's a thing that only you eat in the household, you buy it. Or if someone else buys it for you, you give them that money back. So you're the one who bought it. These two girls, however, this dinner seemed to be completely normal. Their system of regular taking turns being in charge of meals, and tonight was Alice's turn. Normally she would spend a little time and effort as possible, only truly applying herself when there was something to celebrate. Of course, Sojiro was none the wiser to Alice's unique approach to food preparation. For him, it was a plain, lackluster meal. When it came to dinner, not saying anything to each other was another staple of their meals. Sounds of cutlery, scraping of chairs, and the tick-tock of the clock were the only things to be heard in the sunroom. Sojiro himself had already eaten. This moment he was watching the going-on from the drawing room.
ソジロー、9時からアルバイトでしょ？行ってらっしゃい。私たちのことは気にしないでいいから。
Okay.
ああ、じゃあ行ってくる。
Sojiro donned his coat with a goodbye nod. Look at the style, bro. The drip on... Yo, Sojiro, you got some fantastic drip on you, though. God damn. Sojiro glanced again at the sunroom. Oh. Momentarily locked eyes with Alice. Or so he imagined. She had been ignoring him all day. Not just refused to talk to him, she had avoided him so much so as to not look at him all day until this very moment. Could understand if he was annoying her as the outside of the mansion, but he felt no animosity in her gaze just now.
今の様子を見てたのかな?
Yeah, that's probably it. Sojiro looked nervously at his surroundings for a moment before heading to the foyer. Alice only let her gaze return to normal when she was completely sure he was gone.
ああ、めんどくさ。
He was appalled by Alice's brazen display. So much so, her immaculate veneer of apathy crumbled.
何？献立に不満でもあるの？青子。
Upset over no chocolate,
も
perhaps?
ちろんあるけど、いつものことだし慣れてるわよ。私が呆れてるのは、あんたの意地の悪さの方。
Your attitude.
徹底的に無視してるくせに、相手の反応を伺ってるなんてめめしくない？罠張って待ち受けるようなもんじゃない。
True. Could you?
彼の反応なんて探ってないわ。そもそも興味がないもの。それと、今のは差別発言ね。めめしいという表現は女性軽視に過ぎるわ。
What? What? Sissy? It reeks of sex. What? Alice, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, sure, depending on how you use the word, sure, but like, the way Alco used it just now was not like that at all. He was calling you just like, I don't know, but like, she wasn't using it in that kind of way, but alright.
今の場合なら、あなたは矛盾していると言ってちょうだい。
うわ、自覚ありときた。
Look, found a soapbox, started preaching. Fucking hell. Just not to rise to her roommate's jibe, Alice resumed eating. Aqua tore off pieces of bread and ate them one by one, anger still visible on her face.
じゃあここからは、青崎青子としてじゃなく、共犯者としての質問ね。
Oh?
アリス的に彼を見逃していいと思える判断材料はない？
Maybe.
ありえないけど、実は彼も魔術師でしたなんてオチであったとしても、ここに住まわせるのは容認できない？
その理由なら認めるわ。 彼を許すのではなく、そんなことに気づかなかった私たちへのペナルティとして。そうね、今のは絶対にありえない話だけど、それと同じに絶対の結論もまたないわ。
Yeah.
彼がここに住む選択を飲む場合すらあるかもしれない。気の迷いは私にだってあるのだし。
Yeah, you do. You can have your own
ええ、
wins.
そういうことよ。
Yeah. Makes sense, makes sense.
今は私との義理とかプライドで冷静を保ってるあんただけど、あいつの努力次第で少しは。
それは諦めて。彼が何をしようと無駄だから。
You'll never change? Yeah, I'm not sure
あな
about
た
that.
も知っていると思うけど。
I mean, okay, yeah, true. Alice had never been the type to let her guard down around others. Young witch despised humans. They recreated so many of their objects in fairy tales.
そんなのはあんた個人のトラウマでしょ。自分の意固地さを魔女の血統云々で棚上げするのはそれこそめめしいわ。
De
いいじゃない。嫌いなら嫌いではっきりしてれば。
Just act like it, man.
私が気に食わないのはね。
どっちつかずの態度。
そう。無視するなら徹底して無視してやれって言ってるの。
Exactly. If you want to just ignore him, just don't stop. Just ignore him.
ガチガチに守りを固めて、そのくせ城門だけ開けて、獲物が油断して入ってきたら串刺しにする気満々とか、相棒として見てられないわ。あいつにできることなんて、閉ざされた門を開けることぐらいだっていうのに、その機会さえなくすのはどうなの？
She's gonna take that literally, you know this.
ごめんなさい、青子。もう少し簡単に言って。
Your metaphors are also a bit too high above for her as well.
その例えはちょっと。
Yeah, in plain English, please. I seemed unable to grasp Alco's metaphor. Meanwhile, Alco headed up to here, with her roommate's lack of self-awareness and was starting to lose her cool.
だから興味ないとか言っておきながら粉かけるなってこと。あんなにチラチラ盗み見たらあいつ変に勘違いしちゃうかもしれないでしょ。
Yes, thank you. That's a good way to put it.
アリスはああ見えて本当は自分と仲直りしたがっているに違いない。じゃあ早速部屋に押しかけてみようとか。
Or even worse.
そういうことになるの？
You look so surprised. Like, genuinely so surprised, Alice.
なる。少なくとも私だったらいい加減イライラして話があるなら校舎裏まで来いって決着つけかねないレベル。この毒。
Alright.
そうだったのね。気をつけるわ。
Smack you senses out back, bitch. What?
別に彼と話をする気はないんだし、私も彼を見ていたというより彼の手足を見ていたのだし。
What?
手足ってなんで？
手足は手足よ。彼個人には思うところはないけど、あの夜の出来事はまだ記憶に新しいから。それが少しだけ気になってつい視線で追っていたのね。
The other night. What?
あの夜って遊園地のこと？
Oh.
なんかしたっけあいつ。
I mean, aside from him just jumping onto the egg and then onto the ground and all that, then I guess. But Alex's expression soured. Still felt the sting of her defeat.
飛んだでしょ、彼。レールの上から私のダンプティに向かって。
I mean, that was impressive, but
ええ、そんなこと言ってたわね。勢いでつい1メートルぐらいだから飛んじゃったとか。
yeah. I couldn't actually see it in person, luckily. All she knew was that the spell she had placed on Sojiro was part of the reason he survived that jump of death. Alice, on the other hand, had observed the whole scene from the clock tower. It only lasted an instant, but it had burned itself into her mind's eye. More than when her precious moon had fallen at Aoko's hands. The flat stomach had come crumbling down.
でもそれがどうしたの？卵の敵討ちってわけ？
ダンプティは壊れるのが仕事だから敵討ちも何もないわ。
Yeah, that's fair.
ただ人間の体ってあんな風に動くんだなって。
Oh. As it goes, for someone with as little human interaction as Alice, Sojo's sleep must have appeared quite remarkable. Particularly because his legs were orders of magnitude less capable than those of an animal in the forest. And yet, even with such feeble legs, those meek arms of his, he managed to fly through the open air like a bird. To her, it was akin to the feeling city folk get when they see a wild creature in its natural habitat.
気にしないで。機会があるならもう一度見たいと思っただけ。別に彼に何を期待しているわけじゃないわ。
なるほど。アリスのプロイって大体が人型じゃないしね。単に物珍しさで見ていただけか。
She's impressed by human capabilities. I get it. Okay, that makes sense. Aqua sighed and released tension from her shoulders. She was disappointed to discover that Alice's behavior stemmed from simply curiosity, not that of a child with a new toy. Alice was in no position to take issue with her reaction. Nor could she. She was not entirely sure what it was that she herself was feeling.
夕食、明日は私が作るから。試験前だってのに、こんなしょぼくれたもん食べさせられたら、一夜漬けする気合も湧かないわよ。
ご自由に。私も手が空いて助かるわ。
Well then. Night came and went in the mansion. Better or worse, the disturbances caused by the foreign invader had not yet caused the kettle to boil over. For now. For now. Birds! God, that looks extremely cold. Jesus. The next morning, at 6:30, sunlight spread out across the sky. Sojiro walked to school with Aoko in the chilly morning air.
いい？洋館にいるときは、極力一人にならないこと。
It was her intention to keep Sojiro safe until he left the mansion. Nonetheless...
眠い。6時から登校とか、あんたも働き者ね。
All black?
そうでもないよ。30分仕出しを手伝うだけだし。
His work ethic was a little too strong for a student entering finals.
それより青崎、無理してないか？別にこっちに付き合うことないんだぞ。
Yeah, why are you out here, Aoko? You can keep sleeping.
ご心配なく、生徒会室で仮眠取るから。約束だし、門までは一緒に行くわよ。
But why? But internally, Aoko was worried. What traps did her roommate have in store for him? She could not imagine Alice had planned anything to go down the woods, but she wanted to be safer than sorry. The least she could do was accompany Sojiro to school, not much she was firmly committed to. Okay, I mean that makes sense, but... Any traps that presented themselves could be dealt with on the spot. Well, not dealt with so much as destroyed, since that was Aoko's forte. But that would be enough to keep him safe for the time being.
帰り道に関しては、アリスもそこまで暇ではないと信じるしかないんだけど。
Yeah. Okay. If Alice was willing to put all her energy into a new trap after the first had failed, they were as good as dead anyway. Aoko would cross that road when she came to it. It will depend on how It all depends on how deep Alice's dislike of Sojiro really went. It had to be enough to make her abandon her pride as a witch. Something she had protected fervently until now. That were the case, Aoko knew she would never be able to keep him safe. moment 24/7 protection became necessary was the moment she had failed. The character led her to focus on what she could do in the here and now and ignore the rest. This current plan of hers was her best attempt at doing right by everyone. They left behind the Kuonji estate. Nope. The two remained together until the residential area at the bottom of the hill. Rako glanced casually at Sojiro.
ところで何か考えてる？
Surprisingly, Sojiro saw through Harm's question and sensed the bigger issue. How is he going to win Alice over? In fact, he had been thinking about that very question. According to his friend, there were 3 basic approaches he could take. 1 was the roundabout approach.
こいつは時間がかかるが最も自然だ。人間ってのは自分が好きなものを大切にされるとコロッと気を許しちまう。仲間意識ってやつだな。
In other words, instead of focusing on the person one wishes to win over, one should focus on their interests. It was a surprisingly mature opinion coming from Kenobi. Unfortunately, Sojiro had no idea what sort of things Alice liked. She seemed very fond of the mansion, and what he could do clean it for her, he sensed that would have a reverse effect. He had the distinct feeling she would not want him touching what was precious to her. The second approach was to take the inner track.
でもやっぱり本人を落とすのが一番早い。俺たちに魅力がないのなら、魅力のある外付け装備に頼るのだ。
Yeah, but it's also the one that doesn't last forever.
そう。プレゼントなんだよ、しずきくん。
And that is something that doesn't last forever. A quick and dirty strategy, the assassin's strike. Manipulate someone's feelings with an expensive gift, which does not work in the long run. Not speaking from experience, I'm just, that's kind of a no-brainer kind of thing. To Sojiro, this sounded like his best chance. The approach was easy for him to grasp, and he appreciated its simplicity. However, he had the same concerns as with the first approach. A step was missing. Without this step, the plan was bound to fail.
あとはまあ剣ってやつ。俺にはよくわかんないけどさ、やりすぎると悪い印象を持たれるとか殿下が言ってたな。
Yeah, the last one I assume is just don't.
私今落とされてるって意識させちゃダメなんだとよ。付き合った後であれ私落とされたと気づかせるのが上等なんだとか。
Yeah, like friendly banter every now and then, friendly conversations. The soldier did not quite grasp the details. He understood the basic idea. Don't press your luck. He knew that much was good advice. But have to try extremely hard to get on Alice's good side. And he could tell it would be a long process to get there. Soldier recalled the time he had wandered inside the fox's territory in the mountains. He let some food on the ground for the fox, and then it never bothered him again. What is considered goodwill and kindness varies from person to person. But if there's enough goodwill from one side, regardless of whether that goodwill is recuperated, the other side will eventually start to feel an obligation to do so. That was the key.
大丈夫。考えてるよ。とりあえず自分にできることとか、したいことをしようと思う。
And your response, Sojiro, achieves nothing.
安心してくれ。青崎に忠告されたことすらきちんと守る方針だ。
That's a great reply, Sojiro, but it achieves nothing. Yeah. Yikes. Sojiro seemed ready to face things head on. His answer did little to reassure Aoko, however. He found herself more concerned about his safety than ever before. Yeah, yeah.
学校にあるようなほうきが欲しい。
Huh? Who the heck are
そうな
you?
んだ。できれば安く買えるところ。
Fucking small, stupid, pat you on the head type beat. Small at.
しずきの家、アパートよね。 ほうきなんてもの必要とは思えないけど。
いや、ちょっと気になるところがあって掃除がしたいんだ。ゴミ袋もあると助かる。
無駄な出費はできないって言ってたくせに。
Yeah, aren't you meant to be broke? What the heck is going on?
まあどうでもいいけど、うちのでよければ使う？貸してあげましょうか？
Or no, I need my own.
多分1日じゃ終わらないから自分で買うよ。
Yes, yes, I need my own.
元から欲しかったものだし、あると便利だよ、ほうき。
I love having a broom around my house just in case. Sojiro was on his way home from his part-time job after school. It was 4 in the afternoon, 2 hours earlier than his part-time job would have normally ended. Mad Bear's head chef had gotten in trouble with the accountant for making a student work the day before exams. Thus, Sojiro's boss had tearfully sent him home early. And that is what had happened. The interruption to his standard schedule must have been just the shock he needed. Normally, he would meet up with Aoko after she was done with student council affairs and go home with her. However, today, Sojiro was asking the other students who worked at the same place if they knew any shops in the area where he could buy a broom.
田舎者の趣味って理解不能ね。推強すぎ。
They're like so weird. Oh my god.
うちの近くにまっついラーメン屋あるでしょ。あそこの通りを終わりまで行けば、起きたって金物店がある。
Let's go to the end of the street. There's a harvest. Okay.
一式揃えるなら西口のホームセンターより安く上がるわ。
Yeah.
どうでもいいけど、私のチャリ使う？どうせ試験明けまで使わないし。
Oh, that's nice of you. Sora's eyes lit up as if he had met his savior. Biking uphill to the mansion, let alone with a package to carry, was not a pretty thought.
いや、自転車には乗ってみたいけど、今回は遠慮するよ。
Saying farewell to his co-workers, he headed to the hardware store. He needed a cheap and sturdy broom and a large dustpan to go with it. If possible, a pushcart and stick for a splint would have been nice too. As it happened, Sojiro wanted quite a few things. Oh, Sojiro. How much can you afford is the question. Alice returned to her work after waking from her nap. What the fuck? Kuonji Estate had an annex that housed the library. It was filled with books handed down to her from her mother, so it was Alice's territory such that even Aoko dared not enter. The mansion was a witch's abode, left behind by the times. The library was a fairy tale of quarters lost to the ages. It was a natural sanctuary for the young witch who could command ploys to do her bidding. She relied on her memory to recall the location of each book on the many shelves. And then she saw it. Raising her head, she was met with the most unusual sights. Her elegant eyebrows bristled in distaste. From that moment on, she failed to accomplish anything she had planned for that day. She was instead forced to stare at the strange sight outside her window. Her eyebrows fixed in that position until the sunset. What? Alice, you're really fucking weird, you know that? What did you see what did you see outside the window making you stare until sundown? That fucking explains this chapter so far. Oh well. Oh well. Moving into the Grand Mansion on the hill had not brought any major changes to Sojiro's day-to-day schedule. He woke up, went to his part-time job, ate breakfast, and went to school. Day's over. Classes came and went, still strange and new, broken up by rare and brief moments of rest until the school day ended. He left school, went to his part-time job, slept, woke up, and studied for exams. Modest life for a modest young man, continuing every day in the same fashion despite his best efforts to change his fortune. But nothing ever really changes. Alka was by his side in the mansion, as was frequently the case. Or brother Alice was making him drink some potion she prepared before going to bed. The former was an attempt by Alka to make him feel better. The latter was some attempt to keep him safe, even if he did not fully appreciate it. Then, one day, a day like any other, while Sojiro was pouring himself some tea as he worried over the lack of change in his life.
ああ、そういえば。
His relation with Alice was the same as ever. There was one major change this morning. He was drinking black tea instead of green. There were all sorts of different types of tea to be found in the kitchen. A newcomer to the world of tea like Sojiro could not tell one of them from the next. Naturally, his tea-making skills were limited to tea bags, one of which he placed in his cup before returning to a dining table. Alice and Alko were already seated. The two were eating in silence. In this household was everyone for themselves when it came to breakfast. The diplomatic description of their breakfast would be simple. The more accurate description would be 2 slices of stale bread prepared in seconds. Alko exchanged a word or two with Alice, took a sip of tea, and stood up from her seat. Since it was winter break for the high schooler Alice, she returned to her room after eating as she normally did, while Alko headed to the front door, shoes in hand, ready for school. After hurriedly clearing the table, Sojiro rushed out the door after Alko. Together they walked down the long hill in the direction of school. They had spent 3 days following this very simple routine.
ところで、あれから動きはあった？
School had ended and evening had arrived. Buttered bread roll in one hand, Alice replied with a simple, silent shake of her head.
そう。ならあっちも次の手を考えているんでしょうね。魔術師本体の居場所は見当ついてる？
Her response was exactly the same. Not showing the slightest sign of dejection, she continued to chew the roll and took a stab at her salad.
そう。私も試験が終わったら手伝うから、それまで悪いけど一人でやってて。今日からあのバカを一夜漬けにしなくちゃいけないんで、余裕ないの。
How unfortunate. As his face grew dour as if he had something to get off her chest.
問題ないでしょ？アリスはもう休みに入ってるんだから、一日全部使えるじゃない。
You got all the time in the world, bruh. Ella was indeed on vacation, and could spend all day, every day, on her work as a mage. Yet she had spent the past few days holed up in the library instead. She was hardly devoting herself to dealing with the challenger, as Akko put it.
アリス？聞いてる？
わかってる。今夜からそっちもやるから。
Sighing, she stood up. What was bothering Alice? What was it she wanted to say? What she'd been doing only 2 hours earlier? Young Witch took her leave from the breakfast table without offering a single clue. What is she up to? I'm assuming it's something to do with the amnesia potion, but then she would probably tell Aoko about it, so it can't be that. Sake High was a private school, and as such, its winter break started out earlier than public schools. The end of term ceremony was in mid-December, followed by a brief respite before the next term began. Of course, that was if and only if they overcame the classic obstacle lying between them and an extended break from school. Final exams. The radio continued its broadcast late into the night. A thermos of hot tea eliminated the need to venture down to the kitchen. An electric blanket kept away the winter cold, and a crab-shaped pastry staved off any dinner-time hunger. These were the lengths Aoko had gone to. She needed to ensure that every aspect of her surroundings helped her pull a successful all-nighter.
期末試験1日目、ご苦労様。それで、生まれ変わる覚悟はできた？
Well, are you ready, chat? Are you ready? Sojo's ready, so you better be ready. Sojo nodded earnestly. Returning from work, he encountered not the mage he expected, but the Demon Student Council President, Aosaki. Half a day earlier, the first day of exams were over, and Sojo was about to head back to the mansion where he hoped to put his plan into practice. When...
今夜私の部屋で監禁ね。
Huh?
夕方からのアルバイトは当然キャンセル。ちょっと本気であの点数はありえないから。
What? A cold blue grin greeted him in the hallway. Clenching the fist with Sojo's exam paper. Sinister had no doubt said,
転校してきたばかりだし、しょうがないよね。
which is correct, bro. Sojo only just got here. He was still like learning to get used to everything. Bro, what did you expect, man? But she had snatched the exam out of the teacher's hands the minute he tried to show her. That was how Sojiro had ended up in Aoko's room, instead of the room in the attic to which he was accustomed. Though her situation was far from normal, at the end of the day she was an adolescent girl like any other. Naturally, she felt uncomfortable letting a boy her own age into her room. However, his grades were truly something that called for desperate measures. Next by, her mood was even worse than normal today, and the vein on her forehead was pulsing visibly with anger.
先に自分の復習済ませる。あんたはそのテーブル使ってて。
Okay. I turned her back to him and sat down at her favorite desk. So was left standing before a cheap-looking glass table.
なんかいろいろと慣れないな。
Well, get used to it.
なあ、青崎。この青いのなんだ？
You don't know what a guitar is. You know what? That's fair. Restless, Sojiro found his eyes drawn to the guitar propped up in the corner.
なんか薄いし青いし、とんがってるし。きっと青崎のことだし。もしかしなくても、武器か。
Yes.
楽器よそれ。エレキはともかく、アコギは音楽室で似たようなのあったでしょ？あとこれ以上青々言ったら、そのとんがってるので殴るからね。
Yes. Sojiro plopped himself down onto a cushion, struggling to suppress the desire to retort that it was a weapon after all.
ちょっとは落ち着きなさいよ。いつもは耳の遠い大型犬みたいに鈍感なくせに。
In fact, it was Aoko who was oblivious for once. For his part, Sojiro could not figure out why he felt so restless either. Suffice to say, they were both pretty clueless in this moment.
もしかして内装？この部屋の家具のグレードが今とは違うから不思議がってるのね。
Yeah, I mean a little,
こ
but
こ。ベッド以外は私の家から持ち込んだものなの。引っ越してから2年経つけど、まだ屋敷には馴染んでないでしょ。
which is fair. She misunderstood the real reason for Sojo's nervousness. Aoko seemed satisfied that she had resolved Sojo's anxiety for the time being and returned to her studies. She flipped through her notes and textbooks as if fast-forwarding a tape. There was no opening for an outsider like him to intrude in her high-speed study session. Repelled by her intensity, he retreated to his table. He was at least sensitive enough to pick up on her desire to be left alone. It was a testament to Sojiro that having his needs certainly ignored was now second nature to him, to the extent that he could now happily go about his business in solitude. Two hours passed. Then, as the clock neared 11, Aiko's speed and concentration began to slip. Seeing his window of opportunity, Sojiro seized the moment to strike up a conversation.
青崎、ちょっといいかな。
何？
She spoke hesitantly, not bothering to turn to face him. She began to flip pages of her textbook, albeit at a slower speed than
この
before.
3日間、青崎たちの夕食事情を見てきたけど、君たちの食事はいつも青なのか？
Dumb question, till she answers yes, moving on.
そうだけど、おかしい？
Well,
そう言われると困るな。
well, okay, yeah, we can't answer that question.
ただ、学校じゃみんな楽しそうだった。誰かと食事をとるってことは、 ああいう風になることだって思ってた。だから、もしかすると。
もしかしないわよ。別にあんたのせいでアリスと話さないわけじゃないわ。私たちはいつもああだから。
Which is fine. Sometimes you just want to eat the meal and be done with it, you know? Marco spoke calm with her back still turned, seemingly unaware of what he was getting at.
張り詰めた食卓だな。
Mm-hmm.
青崎とアリスは仲がいいと思ってたのに。
Yeah, right. He didn't confirm nor deny the statement. She was, however, surprised by the disappointed tone in which she had made it.
張り詰めた食卓っていうのは合ってるわね。アリスが何回あんたの飲み物にメスカリンを入れてたかなんてもう覚えてないし、昨日なんか堂々とサラダの中に7かまどなんか混ざってるし。
She's adding a bunch of shit to your food and drinks and you're not paying attention.
ほんと、あの子何考えてるんだろう。
Bitter smile spread across her face in reminiscence. The page of her textbook continued to turn.
メスカリン？
サボテンから取れるアルカロイドよ。アリスが使う以上、ただの幻覚剤じゃないでしょうけどね。と、私はこんなもんでいっか。
She wants him to hallucinate? Then she slammed shut her fourth textbook of the night. Having scarcely changed position the whole night, she finally turned in her chair to face him.
さあ、今度はあんたを仕込まなくちゃね。
Now it's your turn,
今日
Sojiro.
の4科目の答案。実に宗十郎らしい出来栄えでそっとしそうになったわ、私。
Of course she did. Her tone was light, but her gaze was heavy as she stared at Sojiro, seated cross-legged on the floor.
原告、地理、数学、電子工学。
Okay, can you blame him though?
あの調子であと2日続けたら冬休みが消えるのは当然でしょうね。そうなると困るのは私なのよ、実際。
Yeah.
いや、俺も困るぞ。休みなのに学校に行くのはなんか気が乗らない。
Yeah. Sojiro calmly corrected her.
そりゃあ私のセリフだ。あんたが学校に行くってことは必然こっちまでとばっちりが来るっての。
Well, Sojiro has his part-time jobs. She could think about, as much as she tried not to, was Mr. Yamasura and his annoying grin.
それ以前に私の目が黒いうちはオール赤なんてやつは許さない。
Not on my watch.
本来なら少年から叩き直すところだけど、
Ooh.
あんたはいろいろ事情があるからとりあえず点数だけで勘弁してあげる。
Just as once.
私もテストは一夜漬けで片付ける方だから、あんた一人仕込むのにそう時間はかからないだろうし。
Hopefully. Sojiri's expression openly sad in response to her declaration. It was obviously nothing he needed her meddling in his studies.
あんたね、苦労するのは私とあなた、どっちだと思う？
Who's gonna have it worse, me or you, man? Sojiro got the feeling that it would be him, but he nodded slowly nonetheless. Then again, it would probably take more effort on her part than his. In any case, he knew there was no way to talk her out of it.
この度はご迷惑をおかけします。
Yeah. Sojiro summarily bowed his head to show gratitude and willingness to work.
よろしい。
Good.
安心なさい。私だって鬼じゃないから。
I didn't think you were.
別に平均点狙うってわけでもなし。予定通りこなしていけば3時には眠れるわよ。
By 3, as in the morning? She nodded with satisfaction, pleased by his studious attitude. He had plenty of obstacles ahead of him, but that sense of humility might be enough to see him through.
って何仏心出してるんだ私。
You really can't.
いいしずきくん。この後頼られちゃたまんないから釘刺しておくけど、私がマンツーマンで誰かを仕込むなんてことめったにないから。
True.
これはあくまで異例中の異例だって覚えておいてね。
Right, you should really take advantage of this, Sojiro, because this probably won't happen again. She spoke more to convince herself than him, but his expression still darkened. He made one to hang a side around his neck that read, "Please take me home," like an abandoned pet. Ako chided herself for being so soft. For some reason, that moment she recalled that it had been raining the day they met each other. Time passed like the falling grains of an hourglass. I see you didn't finish at 3. Ako squinted as light poured through the window and she downed another cup of tea. She had lost count of exactly how many she had drank long ago.
一晩かかったね、大崎。
It only took the whole night. Yeah. Sojiro picked up on what she left unspoken. How could I use up all her pep? Staying up all night, but also in shouting at him. He looked pale and uncomfortable, just as he had all night long.
ええ、甘く見てたわ、あんたのことを。
For once, Aoko has underestimated you.
だから、褒めても何も出ないって。
ある意味、褒めるに値するかもね。
You're damn right. I'll pat him on the head for you. There you go, man. Pats on the head pats. There you go. Alright. She was at the end of her rope, but she could not help the bit of pride that swelled up in her. His lack of even the most basic comprehension was shocking, if you're taking into account his upbringing in the wilderness. His ability was that of a middle school student. That was being generous. Paying him for exams by teaching him new concepts and ideas was a waste of time. Rote memorization was his only hope for passing. Everything he memorized could collapse like a house of cards afterwards, for all she cared, as long as he remembered for his exams. Assuming he had the capacity to be a good student in the first place had been her mistake. He took all night to cover the content for just 4 exams. And she still did not feel confident he could apply what he so earnestly tried to memorize.
でもね、真面目なのはいいことだけど、あんた暗記するのに時間かかりすぎ。
He really does.
そこは多めに見てほしい。今まで頭より体で覚えることのが多かったんだ。
Right. I could let out an exasperated sigh. Naturally, physical prowess mattered more in the mountain life than the intellectual kind. But still.
まあいいわ。これで山城からあんたの成績について相談されることもないでしょうし。
Hopefully.
紅茶、もう一杯入れてくれる？
More tea. Rose stood up and obeyed. Saoko stretched her aching back. She had apparently bought tea bags in bulk, so there was still plenty to use.
まったく、無駄遣いだな。
She spoke under his breath so she wouldn't hear. I'm somewhat happy to see her so tired and unfocused after the grueling all-night lessons she had given him. It crossed his mind that the excess tea bags, far from being an indulgent purchase, were purchased intentionally to sustain him through the night. A relaxed expression came across Ako's face as she watched him, naive and peaceful as could be.
悪くないけど、せめてリーフティーで入れられるように仕込まなくちゃダメかな。
Seemed to have overheard her not so inner monologue, sort of made to face her.
やっぱり味は違うのか？
Yes.
違う、もう全然。
Yes.
正直私はどうでもいいんだけど、アリスはね、かなりお茶にはうるさいよ。そうだ、宗十郎、アリスとうまくいってる？
Terrible. Michael cheerfully slumped over the table, not covered with textbooks and scribbled notes. Sojiro watched her with a hint of resentment in his eyes.
彼女と会えるのは食事の時だけで、食事と言ったらあれだろ？どうやって仲良くなれって言うんだ？
You gotta try, man.
そう？私は十分脈ありだと思ったけど。そっちはアリスを怖がってないし、アリスはそっちを追い出す理由を見つけようと躍起になってるし。
Yeah.
いい条件よ、これって。
It is.
全然わからないな。
I don't know, man.
あの子とこっちの関係は遊園地前の青崎と俺の関係と同じじゃないか。一体どこがいい条件なんだ？
とりあえず反目し合ってはいないでしょ。
I mean, I guess.
一方通行の関係だけど、それはそれ。アリスにしちゃ上出来っていうか、理由を探している時点で可能性ありってね。
True.
あの子は反感に応えることが癖になっちゃってるから、大抵相手を自滅させちゃうのよ。
Good point, Alko. Good point. Ominous words only confuse Sojiro further.
知ってしまえば単純な話なんだけどね、あの子の場合。ただ
Not he could put it into practice was another story altogether.
難しいよ、青崎は。
Kinda. He carried her teacups back to the table as he spoke. Alko picked hers up and took a sip as if to dispel her exhaustion.
でも、確かに君の言う通りだ。
Mm.
俺はまだあの子の顔しか知らない。クオンジ・アリスという名前すら定かじゃないのは問題があるね。
Yeah. Well, Alko leaned and took a sip of his own. His cup contained not tea but plain hot water.
あの子のこと教えてほしい？
Does bro only drink hot water? I scrutinized him carefully as she sat. His boys would have been captivated by her gaze in that moment.
いや、そういうことは本人に聞いてあげるべきだと思う。
No, that's right. But he ignored her and stared straight ahead as if speaking directly to Alice herself.
そうね。ほんと、あんたってアリス好みの対応をするわ。
Yeah.
ねえ、前から気になってたけど、客室でアリスに何を言ったの？いくら私との約束とはいえ、あの子が部外者を半日も放置するなんてありえないのよ。
He felt back to that moment. He could recall only 2 or 3 words he had exchanged with Alice after awakening in the guest room. He didn't recall the conversation being anything special, but he could not bring himself to casually share with Alko now. After all,
ねえ、どんなセリフであの子の気を変えたの？
Alko eagerly pressed him for answers. Sojiro frowned, unsure of what to say. Didn't know what the interaction had been like for Alice, but for him it felt special, sacred almost. The question was why, then for whom? Was he so concerned?
ほら、白状しなさいってば。隠し事なんて似合わないわよ。
This concerning smile moved even closer. Don't break, Sojiro. Sojiro did not look like he was able to stay silent much longer. So we eventually come to realize that Kawasaki had a sometimes troubling propensity to gossip.
まあ、あの子と何を話したかは言わないけど、
Exactly. Can't tell you.
今の青崎に比べれば、花もロマンもなかったのだけは確かかな。
Yeah. I feel I should. Chapter 7, the one we're currently in, has a cut scene from it. I've attempted to find it and see it, but it's only available through commentary of others' Let's Plays on YouTube since the original one got deleted off YouTube for some bizarre reason. This is supposed to play before the study session, this one. So you can watch it in the free time if you want. It's not crucial to the plot. Wait, so it had... So, it had a scene before this that was deleted. Why? Also, hey, Minun. Thanks for joining us. What? Why? Is it like only in the Switch version? Or the console version? Or only in the Japanese version? It's partially voice translated but was cut for some reason. But I assume it's in the Japanese release then. So it has a full... It's only in the original release. Yeah, so it's in the Japanese version. Okay. That's... What the hell? What the heck? That's kind of weird. I'm curious what's so important then. Well, I guess it's, well, you said it wasn't important. So it's not so much like it was important, it's just like what made him cut it? Okay. I'll check that out before I head off for the day then.
さっきまでは青崎が鬼みたいだったから、いいもんだなって気がつかなかった。
Alright. He stared directly into her eyes as he spoke. Near leapt out of her seat in panic. Then he pointed out, she realized her bodies were practically touching.
仕方ないでしょ。この方が効率良かったんだから。
Of course, of course. And yeah, with that, I think we will end it there, because it's pretty late. I will place a bookmark. Right here. Yes. And return to the title screen. Yes, these chapters were pretty simple. You know, just last casual conversations. You know, the part I love the most. Obviously, I enjoy the fantastical aspects of these Nasu stories, but I don't know, Nasu is like so good at just writing like casual dialogue, man. I love it. I love just the casual dialogue of these characters. Just getting enamored by how they act in just normal situations. It's probably where I have the most fun. I know it's weird. It's strange. But I hope you all enjoyed. Because I certainly did. Very fun, very simple. Nothing too crazy. I'll check out that cut scene that was removed for some reason, but I don't know why. But that'll do it for this time. So have a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the whole wide world. And hope to see each and every single one of you. Same time, same place tomorrow. For next time. With more Mahoyo. Alright? Have a good day, everyone, or night. Bye-bye.